Hi
Hey,
everyone, welcome back to our channel, Unlocking Autism,
Rich Kids BC. Yep.
right? And my name is Sally, and
My
here
name
is
is my name is Henry.
and we're both board certified behavior analyst, BCBA. So if this is the first time you're here, you can like and then subscribe to our channel. So every month we will have a topic and we talk about that. So and also we're here to answer parents' questions. Okay, so what's our topic today, Henry?
Ooh, it's going to be a really good topic, and I think a lot of people will be thinking about right now, just because right now it's November, and we're just heading into the school year where there's a lot of people who are going through IEP meetings, right? Individual educational plan meetings. For me, I have two learners who are in grade 12 right now and going to graduate from high school next year, and this could be a very stressful time for families, right? How about you?
Yes, and I also have actually one learner from last year. He graduated from high school and it is in university this year. So we have gone through a lot together, and we have seen lots of successes and challenges. So I would love to share all this information with you guys. So if you have any questions, if you are struggling, or maybe you have so many concerns, and then you have a teen in high school, and I think it's not uncommon that you think ahead of time. Like I also have a teenage girl in grade 10, so I'm already thinking about what
Yeah.
I should prepare her for like for grade 11 and 12, because actually time goes so fast. That's probably you also noticed that, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah, right. So yeah, 2 years
Yeah.
can go so fast. So if your child is also in high school and you are worrying about what we're going to do, what we can help, so let us know. We can talk about that. And today we are going to focus on 4 big topics. So I think the first one, because we got some questions from parents, and one of them is about independence living and self-management. If you also do have questions or comments about that, feel free to comment now. And maybe I can start with the
Sure.
question
Yeah.
we got. Okay,
Absolutely.
so the first question we have is this parent said, my son is graduating this year, and I'm realizing how much I still do for him without thinking, reminding him to shower, helping him plan meals, waking him up on time, and managing his appointments. I worry that once school support disappears, he won't be able to manage basic daily routine on his own. How do I know if he's ready for independent living, and what practical steps should we focus on right now before graduation? This is so common. This
I see this
question.
all the time.
Yeah, I am still waking my girls up in the morning.
I think this,
So,
to be honest with you, I
yeah.
think this is something that I think even for adults, even for myself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning right now. I'm still working on, right? So, but I think the common denominator for this type of issue, right, for this topic, right, is number one, to really assess what are some of the independent living skills that your son can do and the other skills that he can't do yet, right? So what I would suggest is when it comes to routines, right? I would suggest subdividing it into morning, afternoon, and evening routines. This way, I hope this would help structure our minds, right, in order to pinpoint what are some of the priorities that you want to target your son in, right, in terms of daily living skills, and run this morning routine to see which type of skills that he can do or cannot do. And then, of course, if he can do those skills, really praise him for the great job that he's been doing so far. And for those steps that he's not yet able to do right now, also think about what types of, like, to what extent he has those challenges, right? Does he really need full physical guidance to do it? Or does he really only just need like verbal reminders to do it, right? So I think these are important things to think about when it comes to assessing where he's at in terms of his skill set with independent living.
Right. I think there are so many tools we could also use, because it
Absolutely.
depends on your child's learning habits. Like,
Yeah.
is it like something that he can see? Like we always call it like visual supports. It
Yeah.
could be like pictures. It could be something that he can write, just like an agenda that we use, right? Some kids, they might find it helpful if they have like a whiteboard and just write down their chores they have to do, or using a timer, like just like here, this parent said that she has to wake him up or like remind him to take shower. What about, have you tried using like a timer? It could be like just a regular
Yeah,
alarm, or it could be like a visual clock that we
absolutely.
see in school. They use it a lot as well. So would that be helpful? Or
Um,
maybe the phone. They have their own
that
phone. Yeah.
and I think another thing that I think a lot of us may overlook is the power of preloading.
Mm,
What I mean by preloading is, for example, the next day, you're gonna get him to do the morning routine, right? What about the night before?
mm-hmm,
What about preloading him the night before about what he's expected to do the next day, and
mm-hmm,
then really help break down those steps into with him early on,
mm-hmm.
so that he is emotionally prepared as well as having his sound mind, right? And I think this is a great chance to set an alarm clock for him so that he's going to wake up at that time in order to prepare for what he needs to do tomorrow morning.
Right,
Yeah,
that's true. And also for planning a meal, that also takes some time. Like it's
yeah,
not like we cannot expect them to be
absolutely.
able to do it like every morning they
Yeah,
wake up and think about it. I think it's important to plan it ahead of time the night before. And also, I don't know about you guys though, but like for some teenagers, they might need to prepare their outfit for the next day. It
absolutely.
might take like too long for them to think of a nice outfit, and then
Mhm.
they do care about it a lot because they're teenagers, right? So they need to prepare that the night before. So these are all the things we as parents need to remind them or help them so that they don't go to school late or
I think another challenge is that, well, when you're talking about
mm,
the um, cooking or preparing meals, right?
mhm,
Do we think we may have to break those steps even further in
mhm,
order so that your son actually understands what to do
mhm,
while preparing a meal, right? Then I
mhm.
think this is a really good chance to assess what kind of meals he likes to eat, as well as what types of meals he's actually able to prepare. And I
Right.
think this is going to be a really good idea in order to maybe instill some motivation in him by noticing what he likes and his dislikes at the same time.
Right, right. So, I mean, like, if you have some good experience or you have some good ideas, please feel free to share with our parents here, like what type of meals would be easy for teenagers to prepare and things that they also like. I would say for us, we normally would teach kids how to prepare sandwiches. I think
Yeah.
that might be like that should be the easiest thing to do.
Or even cooking scrambled eggs.
Right? Yeah. So we can have a list of meals or dishes that they
Yeah.
like as well as like they're easy to make.
Absolutely.
So and then we can start from there. And of course it's really hard to teach at the moment, like when they get ready for school. I think everybody's so rushed and then it's not a good time to do that. It would be very good to since like holidays coming, it would be
Yeah.
really nice to do something like that to
Yeah, definitely.
prepare we don't there are so many things we want to work on, but just like focus on one thing. I think this is what we have to choose. You have to choose the
Absolutely.
priority. If you want him to be able to cook for themselves, it might be good to use the winter break to teach that. Have a couple of different really exciting dishes, and then your child will be really interested in learning. We do it together. Yeah.
Or even thinking about preparing a meal as part of the afternoon snacks rather than either before going to school or going to bed when they are actually probably the most stressful state when
Exactly.
they're really rushed to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that is also a good consideration as well.
That's right. So,
Yeah,
yeah, and then so for school support, yeah, I can understand that because if no more EAs, no more
yeah.
teachers, what you're going to do, right? But I'm sure that like there are some programs out there. And then usually for IEP meetings, lots of the time for grade 12 kids, they have longer IEP meetings just because they have to prepare for either work
Yeah.
or post graduation programs. So yeah, just feel, don't hesitate to talk to the teachers right now about your concerns.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
actually, that leads to perfectly to our second question,
Mm,
which is on career path and future planning. Oh, this is
mm,
a big one. Again, you know what? I think the questions that we've gotten so far, they're really good questions. It's
mhm,
it's choosing the questions to talk about today is has been a very difficult
mhm,
process, right? Because they're it really underscores the amount of challenges and issues that autistic teenagers go through. Seriously, I mean that, yeah, it really underscores that challenge. But anyways, the second question is, my child is this from this parent, right? Is extremely talented in one area, but struggles in others, especially with change and managing stress. I worry about what kind of job that environment would suit her. I want her to have a purpose and independence, but I'm unsure whether college vocational training or supported employment would be best. How can us parents guide autistic teens like her daughter choose realistic and fulfilling career paths? So what do you think?
Right. I mean, like lots of our kiddos, they do have one area they're really good at. That's also really common. We have to also encourage them to, be more confident in what they know. And of course, there are some of the things that they still need to learn. But in terms of like what kind of job, we have to really spend time to discuss with, your child. They need guidance. They might not know what's out there. They're still kids. They might not know what choices they could choose from. So it's good to actually for in our center we do have like we are going to have a new program for teenagers. That's called Jupiter for the high school kids. We want them to be able to figure out okay what they like and what are the strengths they have, and also getting to understand what programs out there they can choose from. Because like BC, there are a few universities and colleges. They actually offer really good programs for uh, for 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 grade 12, not grade 12, but for kids that graduate from high school. They don't know yet what they're going to apply, because it can be really competitive for some programs, right? So, but then actually for these colleges and maybe I'm not sure about you. Well, I do have a like a list of programs they offer. Some of the colleges they have programs mainly focus on helping kids to find what they want, what they like to study. So, and then the advisors and the teachers are there mainly to help them do that. So I think this is really good to look into. It's really worthwhile to look into those programs and then go through those things with your kid. And that actually are two paths, right? One is if you think your kids should keep on studying, or you think, oh, your kid is ready to go find a job. So there are two paths already. So it's good to pick one and then focus on one of them.
So I think that's the first step to do it.
Right.
Then I think once you guys are able to identify and set up what she really wants to work on in terms of career, then I think that's when it's the best time to think about what types of prerequisites and training will be required in order to get into that career, into that industry.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we do have a document. If you're interested, you can let us know. Just type programs in BC, then we can send it over to you. It lists out
at least in British Columbia.
To gather all the information and put them together so that the parents can have like easy access and can just like check. It's like an overview for you guys if you're interested in knowing about it. It lists about different universities like Quanlin, Capilano,
Douglas College.
Yeah, Douglas.
Vancouver Community College, right. Pacific Autism Family. There's a lot of
different programs.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down to our document, you will be able to see all the programs they offer.
Yeah, there's a lot of
lots of really good programs. So yeah, each one has different ones, and some of them might offer practicum. So I think it's good to find out more what's available out there first. And then you can even like go over all these with your child, because you might find things they're interested in that you might not know before.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always so important to include your child in the whole planning process.
And really, again, I feel like the common denominator for these types of training and these types of support is to break down complex goals into into smaller sub steps, right? Into smaller, more realistic little steps, right? In order to get to that big goal, right? I think this is such a really applicable skills that I think all autistic teenagers, in fact, for anybody, should learn. I think just setting effective goals, right? So yeah.
Yep. Just so type programs in BC and let us know, and then we'll send that over to you if you are interested in getting the document. Okay.
In British Columbia, in this province of British Columbia, and obviously, in other provinces within Canada, or even in the US, or worldwide, right? Like I think the programs can vary. However, I'm pretty sure, like at least in North America, there's definitely some options out there in terms of support for the neurodivergent community in terms of post-secondary education. Yeah.
Great.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go to the third one, which is friendships and intimate relationships. Do you want to read this one?
Okay, so so it's my teen has started expressing interest in dating, but doesn't fully understand boundaries, consent, or what healthy relationships look like. So I'm worried about them being taken advantage of or misunderstood. How can we prepare autistic young adults for safe, healthy, romantic relationships while respecting their independence? This is a great question. I actually worked with one teenager long time ago. I would say maybe like over like 15 years
Oh, wow,
ago.
okay.
It was so long ago. I remember this young man said to me that he wanted to have a girlfriend, and he was interested in like one of the girlfriends like he knows from school, really nice and all that. But but we have to make sure that they understand what they need to know. Do they have the basic skills yet, like social skills such as like making friends? Are they
Absolutely.
able to initiate a conversation?
Small talks.
Yeah, small talks is important. Or do they know how to make compliments? That's also important. And then also, do they like pay attention to other people, or are they able to make have meaningful conversation like for a couple of minutes? Do they have that yet? So we can, if they don't have those yet, we have to let them know, oh, these are the things that we might need to work on first. And then there are actually so many important things they need to know.
It's not just that, right? But I think based on my experience, I think I think a big thing that would be very important for especially with autistic teenagers or even young adults to be aware of is the challenge of social blindness, right? Especially when it comes to handling disappointments or handling problem solving, right? Or especially thinking about how to care for your other person, right? There are like certain social cues or social norms, right, that are often invisible but not obvious, right, for neurodivergent individuals, right? So I think definitely going through those scenarios with your teen would be really helpful. Because I feel like a lot of teenagers or young adults on the spectrum, they have to learn this blindly, right? So I think getting them prepared for these certain types of situations will be really helpful.
Exactly. Yes, I think so too. I mean, continuous guidance is important.
I think,
from parents.
especially when I read about just being taken advantage of or misunderstood, immediately think about self-advocacy skills, right? Especially when it comes to teenage girls, right? Because I feel like for autistic teenage girls, especially, they're very vulnerable to be taken advantage of, right? Either in a lot of different ways in a relationship, right? So yeah, like learning how to say no in certain situations, or even understanding social boundaries would be really important, right? Especially, for example, if you're going out onto bars and nightclubs, right? You have to understand, like, there's always going to be other people who are hunting or taking advantage of, especially when it comes to girls, right? So that's really important, to learn how to say no in these very critical situations.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's true. Okay, that's great.
Perfect. I think that's it, right? Okay.
Yes.
Good for you. Next one.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about social communication, making connections, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to read this one. My daughter desperately wants friends but struggles to understand social cues. She often takes things literally or misses sarcasm, which leads to misunderstandings and her feeling rejected. She tells me she feels different and lonely. As a parent, it just breaks her heart, and she's just not sure how to help without overwhelming her. How can she support her in developing meaningful social connections as she transitions into adulthood?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is to be honest with you, this is sort of related to intimate relationships and dating, but in a different way because there's also this one. It's applicable to social friendships as well. I would say definitely in this situation, really carefully ask her um, what are some of the things that she struggles with
Mhm.
in a very sensitive manner, and then slowly understanding what type of challenges she's going through in terms of emotions, right? And I believe in this type of situations, I think it's really useful to gauge how much of that emotion she understands, right? Especially when it comes to identifying, labeling, and um, even just being aware of her own emotions. Different
Mhm.
types of emotions will be really helpful,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to really complicated or secondary types of emotions, right? For example, disappointment, jealous, right?
Mhm.
Um, those are not the primary emotions, but very important emotions when it comes to these types of social connections.
Right. And then I think for lots of the girls, they feel they have like sensitive feelings, and
Absolutely.
it's good to help them find the right group of friends.
Yeah.
I know it's really not that easy. But I mean, for parents, we can try our best, like to go to different classes or different groups and see if like we can find. It's important that they have friends, share the same interests, so they have like similar topics and healthy relationships and like all like that, because in a school setting some classes is really interesting. I see I've been to some schools and they might only have like the maybe one third of girls, and then most of the majority is a boy.
No,
So if they don't play with this girl, they have to like stick with the
there
other
you
girl, but then
go.
actually maybe they both are not like the best choice for
And
her,
and,
right?
al- and also too, now that you mentioned it, I
Yeah.
think one thing would be really interesting to find out, right, is whether your daughter gets along better with girls or guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because understandably, guys and from the guys and girls perspective are very different when in terms of their personalities, in terms of their sensitivities to different issues and things like that. So I think it's also really helpful to find that out.
Right. Sometimes I think we see this a lot in our learners, that they when we
Absolutely.
talk about different social situations, they can identify lots of things. They can tell you lots of things, but then when when in a real situation, they may find it really difficult to figure out how to react, or how other people
especially
feel.
especially at that moment when
Mhm.
all the emotions are on the line.
Mhm.
That's just based on what I've seen with a lot of learners and my experience.
Mhm.
It's just that I've noticed that when we do different curriculums on
Mhm.
um, decoding understanding emotions and decoding what are some of the most appropriate things to do as part of problem solving, right?
Mhm.
They do really well during sessions, right? But when it comes to the natural environment where they actually experience these types of situations
Mhm.
as is, it's a lot more difficult.
Right.
So I think definitely going through these experiences as it after it happened as part of the problem solving process, right? I think would probably be the best way to do it, other than really coaching them as is as the situation evolves,
Mhm.
which I think can be really tough, just because it's hard to time when those
Mhm.
scenarios evolve, right?
Right. So I think for parents, even like with teenagers or little kids, we encourage parents actually to teach
Yeah.
at the moment. Sometimes,
Mhm.
like if especially feelings, it's hard to say, oh, this is happy, this is sad. But then when they're feeling happy or sad, let them know. Same as for teenagers, if they encounter any situation. So don't don't be afraid to point it out to them. They might want to know because they have some blind spots, we might say
Absolutely.
it.
And I call
So
this social blindness.
social blindness, yeah.
Yeah.
So they might not see it. They really need somebody to be there to guide them. However, it's not always easy to have such person next to them all the time. So if parents just see that, it's good to, or maybe I will always encourage parents to set up play dates so that you can set up the situation and you can observe. And then if you do see anything, you can at least be there to let them know, or like, guide them how to actually react in those situations and help them solve the problems.
To
Yeah.
be honest with you, I think when you mentioned about social groups, right?
Mhm.
I definitely think starting off with social groups where different members in the social group have similar interest would be a really good way to start because it relies a little bit less on small talks, which
Mhm.
oftentimes relies on a lot of nonverbal language and cues. So I think starting off with groups with common interests is a really good idea. For example, www.meetup.com would be a really good place to start. A
Mhm.
website where
Is
um,
it for adults?
it's for adults. I think it's for adults,
Okay.
but I think it's going to be relevant, right, to teenagers who are graduating from high school to be
Mhm.
aware of, right?
Mhm.
They can join those groups based on their own interest in their own locality.
Okay, that's good.
So
I mean, like if parents, you guys know any good places or websites, please feel free to share with us so more parents know where to find the
yeah,
resources.
definitely.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and then we have one more. And I like this topic a lot. And I think we need to talk about it because I think it's that a lot of people
Yeah.
don't really talk about it, and a lot of people overlook it just because um,
It's about mental
it's about
health.
mental health,
Yeah.
emotional well-being.
Right.
Because like for us as professionals, we talk a lot about teaching new skills, right? And supporting them and equipping them with the skills so that they can navigate through different complexities in this world, right? But I think a lot of us, even like parents of society at large, we overlook their mental health and emotional well-being as a result of the lived experiences with ASD.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about, okay, I'm going to read out the question. So my child appears calm on the outside, but at home they experience frequent meltdowns, anxiety, and feelings of hopelessness.
Mhm.
They're anxious about the future and scared they won't fit in as an adult. How can parents recognize when stress becomes a mental health crisis and what support systems should we put in place? Okay, so actually, I just got this question, and other parent asking like really similar question this morning. So that's true. So sometimes they don't show it like when they're outside, but then at home they just look different because like we have learners that here doing so well at school, not much problems, but then at home always like getting mad, maybe throwing things, yeah, have all these like behaviors that we don't actually see. So yeah.
I think it's just because they've been so expected, right? All
Mhm.
through the years, right? They've been expected to follow group directions in class and to focus in school and a lot of different of these expectations at school, and they do really well. They appear to do really well, right? So that's understandable when they at home because there's such a familiar environment, right? That's when they feel comfortable in terms of being more likely to genuinely express how your child feels, right? Not just that, but I think in the school setting, based on my experience, what I've seen with my learners and different professionals, no offense, but I think a lot of the major trend now in the education system when it comes to especially with ASD is that they really focus on expecting the student to follow directions, group directions,
Mhm.
and participate in group discussions, and as well as not causing disruptions in the school in the classroom, right? That a lot of it then gets neglected, right? In terms of um like understanding, right? Understanding the school materials, how to break those understand the different things into steps so that it's it's the materials is being easier to be digested, right? As
Mhm.
well as emotional regulation, right? If they feel stressed out, if whether they're able to request to take a body break or movement break, for example, or even to address social disappointments. Because
Mm-hmm.
as you know, very common, right, for neurodivergent individuals to experience social isolation through bullying, ghosting, isolation, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think it's sometimes like these kids they feel more they have more meltdowns at home. That could
Yeah,
also be because of all the stress from
absolutely,
school that you just
absolutely.
mentioned about.
Mhm.
We do not know. So it's always good to give them some breaks. And then I know at some homes, maybe parents might ask kids to go to different classes after,
Yeah,
and that can be really stressful as well. So once they're at home, they feel they should be more relaxed, but then they also have so much expectations at home that could also bring into anxiety
yeah, definitely.
and depression and
Yeah,
all that. But at the same time, and I would say this is just one of the reasons. But then there might be another reason why they do that. I think it is because some kids they really like the routine that you mentioned about really structured environment. So in school or maybe at the center, like here, we have really structured
oh yeah,
routine, and some kids really like that. And then they like the attention as well. So when when they've done something well, usually the teacher would praise them or give attention, give a reward, things like that. So some kids really like that, and then they can do really well. However, when they're at home, this is not the same case at all. So once they're at home, they have lots of free time. Well, do they like free time? Yes or no? Sometimes if it's too much freedom, they might not know what to do next, or maybe they really want attention, but then they cannot get the attention they want. For example, mom is really busy
yeah,
cooking for the whole hour, like mom is not paying attention, and so the kid might get upset or
yeah.
throw things to get attention, or they want to do something but it's not allowed. For example, for some young kids, say they are not allowed to be on the screen like for 2 hours, right? And then but the ones like the 1 hour is gone, and then what's next? If they're not giving instruction of what other choices they could do, like, oh, maybe you can paint, you can draw, you can do this and that. If they don't have those options, and then at the same time they're also taking I mean, like the favorite thing, like the device is taken away, and they might get upset as well. So this could also be the reason why some kids they are more agitated, more upset at home.
To be honest with you, I think the whole struggle here is not just even at home, right? It's any environments, right, where there's just so much distractions in a very big area without a
Mm-hmm.
lot of structure. And I think how we should frame this goal is to how we structure our kids' minds so that they feel calmer with less anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Again, structuring the person's life is key here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that in the center-based sessions or at school, because everything's laid out for that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that it's easier to navigate different challenges because there is a framework in the structure where he's able to thrive, right? However, on the other hand, especially, I'm going to link this back to post-secondary education, right? In university, in colleges, etc., none of this exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why a lot of students struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their marks drop dramatically, right? Because they experience they get a lot of support in terms of just reminders of, handing assignments in on time, right? But you don't get this type of reminders in university or
Mm-hmm.
colleges, right? You're on your own, right?
Right.
This is where a lot of students struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is very similar to what you said about the home environment, right? Because it's a free environment, there's no structure, right?
Mm.
So obviously, understandably, the child will feel overwhelmed, right? Because of so much distractions around them.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, like, we should look into every child's different. So we
Absolutely.
have to see like why they do certain things. We have to figure out like the functions of behavior. This is what we always do, so that we can find out the right way to help them. So yeah, that's these are the questions we've got so far, and I
Do you guys
hope.
have any other questions
Mhm.
from the audience? I think I see more people watching now. So
Mm.
if you just feel free to type of questions in your chat box if you guys have any other questions.
Mhm. Or if this you find this video, this Q&A helpful, please give us a like.
Thumbs up, okay, a like, and then
Yeah,
subscribe
and
to
subscribe.
our Unlocking Autism Bridge Kids BC channel.
And also, if you have any questions, feel free again, like to leave us a comment, question, down below, and we will answer them in our next live. So We might not have like a live in December, but we will be sure have another one in January. So if we don't, if we don't do it in December.
All
So
right.
yeah, thank you so much for watching. And again, like if you are interested in getting our programs in BC that documents about college information about like your programs in colleges, let us know. Also, comment down below
Absolutely.
programs in BC, and then we will contact you and send you over the documents. Okay?
Awesome.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks a lot for today. I really appreciate you joining us for our Fireside Chat. And I'll talk to you next time.
Okay. All right. See
See ya.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.